Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. Let the experimenting begin. So I got another one of these Kingston KC3000 drives. These are PCIe 4.0 NVMe M.2 7,000 megabit per second read drives and apparently about 6,000 write. But anyways, what we want to do is a little bit of testing. Now, as you know, M1 systems have Thunderbolt 3, M2 systems apparently have Thunderbolt 4, but Thunderbolt 3 and 4 are the same megabits per second. But regardless of that fact, speed is always a little bit extra, I guess, between the two. So I got to thinking, well, I've got a 3500 by 3000 drive in my Thunderbolt case right now, which is Thunderbolt 3, 4, USB 4, USB 3, it goes all the way backwards. And so we're going to do the speed test here just to show you what's going on. So this is a 1 terabyte drive and it's my backup drive. And so we're going to open that up and we're going to speed check it. Okay, so we've got a read speed of 2762, which is pretty close to my Mac. It's actually just a little bit shy for my internal M1. And then, of course, our write speed is 1437.3. So nowhere near 35 by 3000. Now, the case itself, they say, is rated at 3000 read max and 1500 on the write. Well, we're pretty close to that. So, okay, and it's an Express 3 drive that's in the case. So what we want to know is what happens when we use an Express 4 drive. Now, we're not going to get anywhere near 7,000 megabits per second. It's just not a happening thing. You actually need either an internal motherboard with PCI Express 4, which my Asus laptop does have, or you need Thunderbolt 5 to get closer to that speed. And we don't have Thunderbolt 5 on Macs, and I don't expect to see that till at least the M4 chips whenever they come out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the drive apart. This is the case. Now this is my Indemem, I guess you can call it. It's a weird name. But we're going to put the drive into this case and we're going to speed check it. Now the other thing we're going to do, which will be of the same video, so a bit of a lengthy video, but we need to do the experimenting nonetheless. Once we're done with the Mac testing, we're going to go to my HP computer. I will do the cloning of the drive off screen just because I need to clone it because I'm going to make it an internal boot drive, obviously. But we'll do that, and because HP doesn't tell us if we have an Express 3 or an Express 4, and there's some information on the internet that says if you have a newer computer, then you should automatically have Express 4, depending of course on your processor, etc. So I'm kind of thinking, well, that's kind of interesting. Wonder what's going to happen there. But anyhow, I don't know. And they don't mark the motherboard either, which kind of sucks. They didn't even mark the motherboard on my Asus. I actually had to just check the online stuff to tell me that. So let's get this drive in here. Alright, so the drive we just took out is this Western Digital, and we now have the KC3000 drive in here. And let's plug it in. Now, it's probably not even formatted. Nope. So we want to initialize. And Kingston. Erase. Let's try APFS formatting first, because that's the Apple stuff. See if maybe there's even a speed difference between the two. Okay, so we're done. Disk utility. This is also a 1 terabyte drive, which drive size doesn't really make a difference. Okay, just speed test. Now we are doing a 5 gigabyte load. One thing I have noticed with a lot of PC channels, or channels doing PC testing, they always seem to do 1 gigabit stress test, and it's kind of like 5 is more of more closer to reality, right? High stress. Anyways, let's do this. Select target, untitled, open. Wow, now that's pretty impressive. Wicked. So 2814 and 2780.7. Wow, that is actually quite good. We are still just under spec for the read side, but our write side is definitely well above what they rate it for, which I did kind of expect that. Okay, I expected it to go a little faster on the write. So let's run this test a couple times. See how consistent we stay. 2812.7 write, 2762 read, 2814.5, 2788. Okay, now let's lower it to a 1 gig stress. 2826, 2782, 2824, 27.6.4. Okay, that's impressive. Okay, so let's change our format routine from Apple to exFAT. And where's my disk utility program? There it is. Okay, erase. And exFAT. And done. And disk utility quit. Speed test. Let's start with the 1 gigabit. Untitled. Open. Because format routines can sometimes make a play in the difference too. Ooh. That's not a good thing. Wow. That really pulled us back. Wow, that's pretty wicked. So, I think it's better to use Apple's APFS. Definitely. Alright, so next test is we got to go to that HP. So it's going to take me a little while, but it will be instant for you guys. And we're going to make this the internal drive on my HP computer. And we'll find out for sure what kind of express slot it actually has. I will do a preliminary test though on the drive that's in there now, so you know what it's actually running at. Because it is a 3.0 version drive, and it's rated for 35 by 3000. And then I'll go off camera, take everything apart after I've cloned the drive, swap them in, and then show you the swapped in drive. We'll boot it up and do our testing there, so stay tuned. Okay guys, we're here with the HP. This is our XPG Game Tricks, they call it, 3500 by 3000 drive. And by the way, 32 gigs of RAM works great. Anyhow, so this is my little surfing laptop for the lazy boy, but I've actually been playing some games on it, and with 32 gigs of RAM I actually got Cyberpunk 2077 to run on this, so far at 11 frames per second, which kind of sucks, but hey, it actually does it. That's impressive. Alright, so of course password sign in, sorry. Okay. Now this, I believe, yes, that's what we want. So I just want to run the one main test here. Now this is under a 1 gigabit load, which everybody does. We did find out between 1 gigabit and 5 gigabit, it's minimal if anything different. So we've got 331891 on the read, which is pretty close. Oh, 3398. 3399. That's really close to drive spec on the read side. 3414. It's getting up there. I wish this program would test drives as fast as Blackmagic does on the Mac, because this is so pokey. So we have a read speed of 3414.54 as our final read. That is very close to the top read speed, which is 35. Now on the right side, of course, oh, it's done. 2176.86. So not too shabby. Let me see if I can zoom this in enough that you can see a little bit better, hopefully. Hopefully you can see these numbers better. Okay, so that's what we got. Now that's the drive that's in there now. We're going to clone that drive to this one and then put this one in, and we'll come back and I'll show you that this one is actually installed and we'll see what happens. So, instant for you guys. Okay guys, moment of truth. We have the Kingston drive in here now, and it just got finished cloning. I haven't even booted the thing up, but it said it was successful, so we'll take its word for it so you can see it there. So we'll plug in our power. And we'll see what happens. See if I can rotate the camera around a little bit better angle here. Well, it's booted so far. Okay, you know the deal, guys. You're not allowed to see my password. Yeah, trial notice, we know. Okay, so we're online. Our only drive here is our Windows C, which is our 1 terabyte drive. This was the old drive that was originally in it. This was like an Express 3, 3500 by 3000. So, let's see what kind of speed this thing actually gives us. Then we'll find out what is built into the HP. And see if I can kind of get that there for you. 3558 so far. Try and zoom in as best I can. It definitely does better as an internal drive than external, because you remember on the Mac, on the external side, we were actually getting really close to that 3000 per. It was doing pretty good. And that was in the case. So we're getting pretty good here. We're getting like 35, 36, 41 on the read. And we've got 3430 on the write. So not too shabby, but definitely, for me at least, not worth keeping it as an internal drive on this particular computer. So we definitely have maxed out the speed of PCI Express 3. Okay, so you can expect that if you buy a faster drive, then yeah, you know, and you can actually get an Express 4 drive right now from what is it, Kingston. It's 3500 by, I believe, 3000 for about 60 bucks, and it's PCI Express 4.0. So you would have a better chance, I think, well, it'd probably be a better solution internally to use a drive like that for the same terabyte, but a little bit less speed, but it would run pretty true to these speeds, at least. Or right on the top end. But, you know, you can use Express 4 and Express 3 slot, obviously. We got that figured out long time ago. We already knew that could happen, but it was like, what kind of speeds are we going to get on an Express 3? My goal here was to find out if this was an Express 3 or an Express 4 slot, or version 3, version 4, whatever you want to call it. And it turns out it's version 3 only, but with a version 4 or Express 4 drive, you're going to get the top end speeds of that 3.0 bus internally. So, okay, I say we're pretty much about capped with the internal bus here. So, even though this is a little bit faster than my XPG drive, to be honest, what I use this computer for, there's no way it's worth me using a 7,000 megabit per second drive on this computer, at least, when I'm only getting about half of that anyways. Well, actually, I'm pretty much literally getting about half. But nice to know what this thing has. Now, if you look up the HP laptop on my channel, you will find the exact model number of it specifically, and this is the one with the fingerprint reader. And so you'll already know that yes, we can guarantee definitely go to 32 gigabytes of RAM, something HP does not actually tell us anywhere that I could find anyways on their website or otherwise. So it does go to that. It comes factory with an 8x256 configuration, but I think for what this thing is capable of doing, I would say because it's going to be Windows 11, I would definitely go for that 32 by half a terabyte or even 32 by 1 terabyte if you need the extra space. Because Windows 12 is going to be coming out, of course, and you know, you're going to need more and more space and more updates, as we know. You know, we still got a ton of updates coming through Windows 11 before 12 comes out anyways, and it's just, you know, chew more RAM too. Windows 11 currently chews up about 8.5 to 8.6 gigabytes of RAM just to the desktop. So even buying an 8 gig Windows computer is absolutely pointless at this point in time. You know, well, any point in time actually, because yeah, you're stuck in swap and taking a hit and also burning up that drive from being constantly in swap all the time. But at least with 16 gigs, you'll be pretty good for a few more years, probably at 16 gigs as a basic user. But if you're basic and above, 32 is really honestly where you should be at, is 32 or more, depending on your computer needs. But in a computer like this, I think 32 gigs is the most it'll ever need, period. And at least you'll never have to worry about hitting swap on a computer like this if you have at least 32 gigs RAM. But as far as the drive goes, Express 3, 35 by 3000s, or you go to an Express 4 35 by 3, which the Express 4 is going to be a slightly faster drive regardless, so it is going to peak out that speeds for this sort of thing. So, but yeah, 7,000 megabit per second, waste of money for that kind of speed in a computer like this. So anyways, that concludes our test. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now I gotta go and do all this mess.